So the fixtures for Newcastle United are not showing any signs of slowing down, and we suddenly have to turn our attention to a competition we know all too well. The holders are back in action of the Carabao Cup against the Tottenham side that we've had some pretty good nights against at St James's Park in recent years. The match preview's coming up, Newcastle fans, so do me a favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back, Black White Banter, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all is well. You haven't got time to breathe supporting Newcastle United at the moment, but I don't know about anyone else. I feel like the more fixtures we have, especially when you're winning, of course, when you're winning, like we have Benfica, Fulham, you want that next fix, and there's a weird love and addiction that comes with having Champions League, Carabao Cup, Premier League, so like thick and fast. And I know it can be draining, and trust me, as someone who tries to make a video for every match, be it most of them, pre-match, post-match, it's a lot. But I'm ready for the next fix. I'm constantly ready for the next fix. Anyway, Newcastle fans, if you're new around here, do me a little favour. Drop us a little like you do. It helps this video go more people than you might think. It goes a long way. It takes you a second. Whack that subscribe button if you want to see more content in the post-match. Hopefully for some fan interviews, you name it, the works. And get Black White Banter across all social media. It's not just on YouTube. YouTube's actually my least subscribed platform. Bit of a bigger dog on other ones. Not really that much of a big dog. Certainly not on the Mad Dog Tyndall scale. But anyway, yeah, do that now. That's the admin out of the way. And here we go. Carabao Cup. And if I didn't mention at the start of this video, we are the holders, the current champions. That'll never get bored of saying. Actually, do you know what? I'm just going to spin around. Yeah, of course, I've got the shirt on. You can probably see it. Had to wear this shirt for this video. Yes, I can proudly say in every Carabao Cup match we have this season, and if this is to be the last, Bradford felt nice enough walking into the stadium as the holders with a lovely gold badge on our shirts. Haven't quite got the gold badge yet. But my God, I sometimes just sit and romanticise about that lovely day at Wembley, and I'll never get sick of saying it. But this one is a very different kettle of fish to Bradford, which was, in the end, as routine as I liked it to be. I know they got a consolation at the end, but generally speaking, it was a solid enough performance with lots of changes. This is different. We'll touch on squad rotation in a little bit with all the fixtures that we've got coming up. But the bigger question I want to start this video with before I get into the match itself is where we prioritise the Carabao Cup this season. And I've asked fans after the Bradford match what they thought on a video, what was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I got mixed response. And I'm seeing on Twitter and Facebook a continued mixed response. Do we care about it? Is this a box tick? Do we go after maybe the FA Cup in the new year? Give the Champions League as good a go as possible for more exciting European nights in this new group stage? For me, I see all arguments, but I think Newcastle, and I mean this honestly, have the level of squad, touch wood, with injuries. I did touch it there. I'll put the microphone just next to it just to make sure. We've got the level of squad now that I haven't seen in my lifetime, I would go as far as saying, where I want to see us go after every match and every competition. And I look at how the Carabao Cup fixtures run. It's not too stressful. I think another round would fall after the derby. So the derby's the 14th of December, after we've just played Leverkusen away the Wednesday before. The next round of the Carabao Cup would be after that, or one of the rounds. And then you're going into those 2 legs like we found out with Arsenal last season that are in the new year. And in the new year, there are no Champions League matches until sort of mid-January to late January. So I don't really think Newcastle giving this a go and potentially getting as close to another Wembley final again as the holders gives us the amount of stress in the fixture list that some people are maybe making out. I would ask anyone to just go and have a look at the fixtures and how the rounds settle. It's not that bad, and I want to see Newcastle compete in every competition. Who doesn't want to see their side win trophies? Like, are we going to win the Champions League? No, we're not. Could we maybe get to a quarter-final like Aston Villa did? I think they got to the quarter-final when they gave PSG a good go last season. Yeah, but this would be another trip to Wembley, another trophy maybe in the cabinet again, and it'll never be as special as the first time. But as someone who has watched the team win one trophy in my life, and Newcastle have won one domestic trophy in 70 years, who are we to say, nah, Carabao Cup's in the cabinet now, we need to go on to bigger things? Nah, Not at all. So that's my opinion. I'd be loved to get yours in the comments. But anyway, let's move on to Tottenham. And the biggest question here is, what does Eddie Howe do with his team? Yes, of course, that age-old thing that we continue talking about, whether it's a Champions League match, the Fulham match preview, I was talking about it, squad rotation. And I tell you what, and I said it in my 5 things I learned from the Fulham game on Saturday, Eddie Howe, my last word blog, so do get me across, get me on Facebook and Twitter, where I normally post my last word. Eddie Howe is a manager who, in his career so far, and it is relatively still young in his career, has never really had the squad that he has now to ever rotate and work with. He's never played in the amount of competitions with a squad where rotation is key. He has to trust the level of players he has, not just to play the same faces. And I think Eddie Howe's been guilty of that. He made changes on Saturday. Even his substitutes really inspired him, winning us the match. But a Carabao Cup match, amongst everything else we've got going on, Athletic Bilbao next week, huge home Champions League game again, West Ham away, massively winnable match for us. He needs to make changes. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the defence. Goalkeeper, I'm comfortable either way, I'll be honest with you. So whether he goes Ramsdale or Nick Pope, Ramsdale probably deserves some minutes. Do you sometimes get a rusty goalkeeper? Well, I'd like to hope not, because in training, there's not much different. Lots of other positions, it's different playing against an actual opposition, like a defender. But a goalkeeper in training is just saving shots all day. So I'm comfortable with either. Now, in defence, I think he needs to make changes. Kieran Trippier looked leggy for me at Fulham, and we can not expect a player of his age to be playing Saturday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Saturday. He's a professional, and he's had time to recover. I'm not doubting that. But I just feel like Trippier is a player that needs a rest going into West Ham and then Athletic Bilbao, because we're not going to see Lewis Hall back, I don't think, and certainly not Tino Livramento. God, the sooner we get them back, the better. I would bring Emil Kraft in for this one. I would. I really, really would. He's never let us down. We don't get as much in an attacking third, and I'm not going to claim that we do. He can sometimes be capable enough of whipping a ball in. We have seen it in years gone by, but I'd bring Kraft in for this one. It's not a change I'm excited about, but I think it's needed. Now, defensively, I wouldn't make wholesale. I would move Malik Chow, who I do think is capable of playing week in, week out, and we need some stability in there. Malik Chow, left centre-back, which he played in the second half against Fulham. I'd bring Fabian Schär back in. We all happy enough to see Fabian Schär back in. Sven Botman looks like he's ruled out of this one. That's fine. Let's keep managing players. Give Sven Botman a rest. His injuries have held off. But keep Malik Chow in. Fit as a fiddle, the boy looks. Now, some people are wanting to see Murphy at left-back as a youngster coming in for this one. Again, not for me. And that might be controversial, and you might say I'm not showing enough trust in our academy, but it's Tottenham. If it was Bradford, yeah, bring Murphy in, give him a go. Not Tottenham Hotspur. So I would stick Dan Burn in, because it's non-optional there at the moment. I would keep him. We don't want to see Dan Burn at left-back. We don't have any options. So that would be my defence. Midfield for me, I'm looking at how Tottenham set up under Thomas Frank, which is a very common system that Fulham adopted at the Saturday, that Brighton kind of adopt. And it looks like they will set up in a 4-2-3-1. That's kind of their system, which ends up being a front four. So to counter that, Lewis Miley stays in the team for me. I didn't think he had his best game against Fulham, but I think he can sit and he can do that job and he can free other people up. Sandro Tonali has to come back in. He's been rested against Benfica, half an hour against Fulham. He seems the natural player, and what a player he is to bring back in for this. And I would give Bruno rest. We are seeing the best version of Bruno from an attacking output so far this season that we've ever had in these early 9-10 matches that he's played, and it's great. I'm loving it. But let's manage that. Let's see whether the rest against Bournemouth really helped him. And I would bring him out. And Eddie Howe might stick with Bruno, because he's one of them players he probably feeds. He wants the next one, the next one, the next one. But I would rest Bruno. And the other third midfielder would, for me, be Joelinton or Ramsey. So I would basically set up how we did at Bournemouth away when we drew 0-0. Miley, let Miley sit, let Sandro roam and do all that good stuff, and then a Joelinton or Ramsey. I do think this match is made for Ramsey to get some minutes, so maybe bring Joelinton out. But I'd be happy with either in terms of where that would work with the system, in supporting Dan Burn as well, which is also really, really important, because we know he needs help back there. My front three is going to be controversial. Voltemada picks himself, because we don't really have any other options. I'm not about this play Anthony Gordon down the middle malarkey. Don't like it, don't want to see it. I would go Anthony Gordon and Murphy. So yes, my front three compared to Saturday stays the same. And you might be screaming at me watching this video, thinking, well, Alanga's cost 55 million. How does he not play? The reason he doesn't play is just because, to keep repeating myself, it's Tottenham. And I want us to progress. And he looks a player short on confidence. I would rather see us start with Jacob Murphy, where the output is guaranteed. You know what you're getting with him. Good balls into the box. Likes to get a shot off. Will running behind. We saw it wonderfully on Saturday. He should have scored 2, not just 1. I would keep playing him. And he hasn't had that many minutes this season. Jacob Murphy, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He wasn't in the team because of Alanga at one point. And on the other side, I just think Anthony Gordon is so important. I would rather see Gordon start and Barnes come on as an impact, even for 35 minutes. Bring him on in the 55th minute in the second half if things aren't working. Give Barnes almost 40 minutes on the pitch. But I'd rather Anthony Gordon starts. And I know he's played a lot of football with England, but I just think his legs and his running are going to be really, really important against this Tottenham side, with Voltemada linking up and hopefully getting the better of the likes of Van de Ven or whoever Thomas Frank decides to play at centre-back. So that front three is controversial, I get that, but I'm not against changes at half-time, switching things up after 50 minutes. So please, again, get down in the comments and let me know your team. On the opposition, should we expect changes from Thomas Frank? 100%. They're in exactly the same position as us, Champions League, Premier League. Interestingly, what I found, Thomas Frank made 4 changes from their match against Monaco to the league match against Everton. So he's already rotating quite a lot. Now, this system that I talked about, it's the reason I kind of wanted Jacob Murphy to come in from that defensive work, and we already know how Dan Burr wants to spot, is just how they set up, and I think wide areas will be key. And under Thomas Frank, I'll share a graphic on the screen, last season to this season so far. Look at how many more crosses they're putting into the box, even without Solanke, who was their best header of the ball last season. They will want the ball wide. And again, from a Kieran Trippier point of view, that's probably why I would maybe want him to take a rest out. He's not always his strong point in defending players running at him. I do expect Tottenham to go more attacking in midfield with this one. I would expect Sarr to maybe come in, as a couple of Tottenham fan forums that I read up on did too. I would expect maybe Bergvall to come in, who is a little bit more attack-minded. I know the Tottenham fans are quite fond of him as well. Maybe a Paulinho to come out, one of their better players. So that midfield might have a more attacking edge than a defensive one for this one. But again, it's away at St James's Park. It's a tough away fixture. Maybe Thomas Frank might play it reserved, and he has done that. And again, that passing map from a recent match against Wolves I'll share on the screen just shows you exactly how narrow they like to play, and that's exactly why I think the midfield battles will be key here. Their fullbacks won't roam as much as what they did under Ange last season when we beat them twice. If you remember, 2-1 at home, 2-1 away. So we're not going to expect too much adventure from their fullbacks, which is why, again, the likes of Anthony Gordon, those legs that we can offer against the likes of Porro, who, you know, will Pedro Porro as one of their better players start? We don't know. But I'd certainly think the midfield is a key battle here, and a fresh Sandro Tonali and a sitting Lewis Miley, maybe an attack-minded Jacob Ramsey could be really, really good options for us. But anyway, now let's get into, you guessed it, one to watch. Black and white banners, one to watch. You know, like that one you should keep an eye on, like. Well, I'm going to put a disclaimer out on this one. Look, trying to do a one-to-watch with Tottenham side like Newcastle, who are going to rotate considerably their team, is like how long is a piece of string. This little snippet of this match preview might be totally pointless. So yeah, my brain does naturally go to Kudus, who we will link with in the summer. I think he's brilliant. On reflection, is he looking a better buy for the same sort of money as than Anthony Alanga? Maybe. I do really like him. I like how just creative he is, how he can use both feet, etc. If he plays, he will be my go-to. But for this one, assuming that he might not, we don't know. Again, I can't get in the brain of the Tottenham manager. I'm going to go for Sarr. I am famously hooked off when it was 5-0 to Newcastle in that 6-1 defeat a couple of years ago in one of the most famous matches in the Premier League at St James's Park of my lifetime. He was one of the players hooked. Bit of a slow start to his Tottenham career. But if he plays in that midfield, it's his energy, it's his pressing, and it's his versatility in that midfield, depending whether he plays with a Paulinho or a Bergvall. I think if you keep a player like that quiet, if he starts, I think a lot of the Tottenham fans are quite fond of him. I know he scored against Everton on Sunday. Winning the midfield battles, as I mentioned, is key, and that could be a good start if Sarr plays from the start. So that's my one to watch. Now let's get into some what are difficult to find Carabao Cup stats. Stats. Right, I'm going to start on a negative and get it out the way. The holders of the Carabao Cup, yes, that's us in case I haven't already mentioned on this video, have been knocked out in round 4 of 3 of the last 4 seasons, with Liverpool being the exception, who got all the way to the final last season. And how did that go for you, lads? How did that go for you, Mr. Alexander Isak? Yeah, we got beat by a certain Newcastle United in this lovely top. So yeah, 2 of those were on penalties in round 4, the dreaded penalty shootout. So hopefully Newcastle are not adding that to 4 out of 5 to go out in round 4, and we progress on Wednesday. That's the awful one out the way. And on a more positive note, Newcastle have won 5 of their last 6 matches against Spurs in all competitions. And as I've already mentioned, there has been some glorious days against this lot, including many where we've actually ended up singing, "It happened, it's happened again, it's happened again." Anyone who subscribes to my channel on the regular and has done for a while will know that there has not been a Dealing with Eddie Howe's Mags episode for ages now. There hasn't been one yet this season because all the teams we've beat don't have a big enough confident fan base. This could be the first episode of Dealing with Eddie Howe's Mags. Please, for the love of God, make this the first episode. So our record against Spurs is pretty tasty, and they'll have a big follower on a Wednesday who might not be looking forward too much to getting off the trains in the north, and not just because it's colder. One player in the Newcastle team who might be hoping to be in the starting 11 for this one because of his record against them is he's Brazilian. He only cost... Joe Linton has got more goals against Tottenham than any other side. 4. And he got his first ever goal for Newcastle in our first ever visit down to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But my quiz question on this one is, what colour strip were Newcastle wearing the day that Joe Linton banged his first ever goal on that day in the blistering sunshine on a bank holiday weekend? Get in the comments and let me know. Right, that's the stats over with, and it's always slim pickings for Carabao Cup matches. It's predictions time. Do I dare put a penalty shootout win into the mix for my prediction? No, I'm not going to. This game very rarely ever ends in a draw. It's one way or the other. As we know, there's been 6-1s, 5-1s to Tottenham in the past, 4-1 to Tottenham in the past. And these are all in the Eddie Howe era. So I'm not going to go for a draw and any sort of awful St James's Park penalty drama. I'm going to go for Newcastle to nick this one narrowly 2-1. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet if we make changes against this Spurs team, but I do think we'll have enough in the tank, and I hope Voltemada continues to link up with the attack. Midfield, that's where this one's going to be won. Newcastle fans, if you've stuck around this long, and I really hope you have, and I appreciate it, whack that little like. Do that now. The thumbs up helps this video go to more people in the next 24 hours before the match. Give us your predictions in the comments. Let us know what you do about the team selection, and maybe you do not agree about where I prioritise the Carabao Cup. We all have opinions. They're like arseholes, just some of them sometimes can be shit. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to come and find me after the Tottenham match, I'll be at the top of the steps near the Milburn statue. Come and tell me what you think and be on one of these videos. That would mean a lot, and I love meeting as many Newcastle fans as I can. Keep the faith, and hopefully the holders of the Carabao Cup will live to say that another day. Away the lads. Away anyhow's Carabao Cup holder mags.